It starts with your phone flickering, the screen goes black. You think it's just a glitch. But across the globe, every satellite is going dark. GPS systems are failing, power grids are collapsing, the internet gone. Within minutes, civilization as we know it has been thrown back 200 years. This isn't science fiction, it happened before, in 1859, and scientists say it's going to happen again. The only question is, when? September 1st, 1859. British astronomer Richard Carrington is studying the sun through his telescope. Suddenly, he sees something that's never been recorded before. A brilliant white flash, a solar flare. What Carrington didn't know was that he'd just witnessed the beginning of the most powerful geomagnetic storm in human history. 17 hours later, the sun's fury reached Earth. Telegraph lines across the world exploded into chaos. Sparks showered from equipment, operators received electric shocks that knocked them unconscious. Telegraph paper burst into flames. The aurora was so bright that people in the Caribbean could read newspapers at midnight. Gold miners in Colorado woke up thinking it was morning. But here's the most terrifying part. Some telegraph operators discovered they could keep sending messages with their power completely disconnected. The storm itself was generating enough electricity to run their equipment. In 1859, this was just a curiosity. The world ran on steam and muscle. The telegraph was humanity's most advanced electrical system. Today, everything runs on electricity. Everything. Visual, historical reenactments, telegraph equipment sparking, aurora footage. To understand what's coming, you need to understand what we're dealing with. The sun isn't just a ball of fire. It's a nuclear furnace wrapped in magnetic fields that can snap like rubber bands. When they do, they release the energy of 1 billion atomic bombs in seconds. This creates two deadly weapons, solar flares and coronal mass ejections. A solar flare is pure energy, X-rays and radiation that hit Earth at the speed of light. There's no warning, no time to prepare. But the real killer is what comes next. The coronal mass ejection. 1 billion tons of electrified plasma hurled into space at 2 million miles per hour. When this plasma cloud hits Earth's magnetic field, it's like a massive electrical storm. But instead of lightning in the sky, you get currents flowing through every piece of metal on the planet. Power lines become antennas for destruction. Transformers become bombs. Satellites become space junk. The Carrington Event packed the power of 35 billion atomic bombs. And that energy found every wire, every circuit, every electronic device on Earth. Let's walk through what would happen if a Carrington-level storm hit us today. Scientists have run the models. The results are terrifying. Hour 0. The storm hits. Every satellite in orbit starts malfunctioning. GPS systems fail globally. Your phone can't figure out where you are, neither can emergency services. Commercial airlines suddenly can't navigate. Pilots are flying blind, forced to land at the nearest airport. But airport control towers? Their radar systems are fried. Hour 2. Power grids start collapsing. Not because of overload, because the transformers themselves are burning out. These aren't ordinary transformers. They're massive, custom-built machines that take months to manufacture and years to replace. When they fail, the power doesn't just go out. It stays out. Hour 6. Cell towers die as backup batteries drain. The internet starts fragmenting as data centers go dark. Financial markets freeze. Electronic trading stops. ATMs shut down. Day 1. Hospitals switch to emergency power, but they only have fuel for a few days. Water treatment plants fail. Gas stations can't pump fuel. Traffic lights go dark. Week 1. Food spoils in powerless refrigerators. Supply chains collapse. Trucks can't navigate without GPS. Credit cards don't work. Cash becomes king again. Month 1. Society starts unraveling. No power means no communication, no coordination, no modern life. The damage estimates are staggering. The US alone could lose up to $2.6 trillion. Globally, we're talking about economic collapse on a scale never seen before. But money is the least of our problems. People will die. Hospitals without power. Medicine that needs refrigeration. elderly people dependent on electric medical devices. A Royal Academy of Engineering study found that a Carrington-level storm could damage 67 major transformers in the UK alone. Recovery time: months to years. The Quebec blackout of 1989 was caused by a much smaller storm. It took down the entire power grid in 90 seconds. 6 million people lost power for 9 hours. That was just a taste of what's coming. July 23, 2012. Most of the world went about their normal day. But in space, something terrifying was happening. A solar storm erupted from the sun, at least as powerful as the Carrington Event, maybe stronger. It tore through Earth's orbit like a cosmic freight train. But we got lucky, incredibly, impossibly lucky. The storm missed Earth by just 9 days. 9 days of planetary rotation. If it had erupted a week earlier, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. NASA scientists who studied the 2012 storm concluded that if it had hit Earth, we would have experienced the worst geomagnetic storm in over 150 years. The damage would have been catastrophic. We dodged a bullet we didn't even know was coming. But here's the terrifying truth. Scientists estimate there's a 12% chance of another Carrington-level event in the next decade, 50% chance in the next 50 years. Over a century, it's virtually guaranteed. We're not talking about if this will happen. We're talking about when. And right now, we're completely unprepared. Most power grids have no protection against geomagnetic storms. Satellites are still vulnerable. We have maybe 15 to 60 hours of warning before a storm hits, if we're lucky. The 2012 storm would have been faster. It would have reached Earth in less than 18 hours, just like the original Carrington event. In May 2024, we got another preview. A geomagnetic storm, the strongest in 20 years, caused nearly half of all low Earth orbit satellites to fire their thrusters to stay in orbit. American farmers lost over $500 million when GPS systems failed during planting season. That was a minor storm compared to what's coming. The sun is a ticking time bomb, and we're living in the blast radius. Solar activity follows an 11-year cycle. We're approaching the peak of the current cycle. The sun is becoming more active, more dangerous. Space weather agencies monitor the sun 24/7. The DARSCOVR satellite sits 1 million miles from Earth, watching for storms. But even with all our technology, we can barely predict space weather 24 hours in advance. Some solutions exist. Utilities can install devices to block geomagnetic currents. Satellites can be hardened against radiation. Power companies can keep spare transformers. But implementation has been slow. The technology exists, but the political will doesn't. Most power companies see space weather as someone else's problem, until it isn't. The Halloween storms of 2003 caused blackouts across Europe and knocked out satellites. Airlines rerouted flights to avoid radiation. 59% of deep space missions experienced problems. That was nothing compared to what a true solar superstorm could do. Imagine a world without GPS, without satellites, without the internet, without power. Imagine being trapped in an elevator when the power goes out, permanently. Imagine hospitals without life support. Imagine a world where your phone is just an expensive paperweight. This isn't science fiction, this is science fact. The Carrington event gave us a preview of our vulnerability. The 2012 near miss showed us how close we came to catastrophe. The 2024 storm reminded us that the threat is real. We live in a civilization built on technology that can be destroyed by the very star that gives us life. Every day, scientists watch the sun. They're looking for signs that it's about to happen. Because one thing is certain, the sun will unleash another Carrington-level storm. The magnetic field lines will snap. The plasma will race toward Earth, and when it hits, everything we've built, everything we depend on, could disappear in hours. The question isn't if. The question is, will we be ready? Right now, the answer is no. The sun doesn't care about our technology. It doesn't care about our civilization. It's been throwing these storms at Earth for billions of years. We've just been unlucky enough to build a world that can't survive them. The next Carrington event is coming, and when it does, it will remind us of a simple truth. We are not as powerful as we think we are. The sun will have the final word.